All right, so starting for our first takedown, this is going to be from the T position, starting with our leg hook takedown. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to initiate the T position. I'm reaching an arm around his hip, and I'm reaching an arm around his arm here, locking it in with my elbow. To complete the leg trip takedown, all I need to do is step my outside foot in the middle of his legs. Notice how I'm posturing. I'm not all bent over as I'm in between. I'm postured up. Now my outside leg is going to hook his leg. I'm going to push into him and go into the mat, catching myself with my hand going all the way up to the mount position. All right, so for the second move on the gray white belt test is going to be the double leg takedown. All I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I'm in my stance. I have a leg forward. All I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I'm stepping. I make a step, my knee comes down to the mat, my back leg comes up, and notice how my head is attached to the side of his body. It's not down. I'm here. I'm going to grab the back of his knees here, and I'm going to use this leg to take him out at an angle and get right into my partner's guard. All right, so starting from the top guard position, I'm going to make sure to establish my posture control. I'm going to make sure you use the bottom of my hands and find the bottom of his ribs or above his belt if possible, and I'm wedging them up into his ribs. So if he tries to pull me down, I should not move an inch. I'm making sure that I also have a wide base, my knees are wide, have those posture control on there. Next will be the knee over pass. All I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I have a hand on him either way. I'm going to lean forward and put a knee in his tailbone, right in the middle of his tailbone. Now my other leg is going to slide back. This is going to put a lot of pressure on his legs. Now all I need to do is find his knee and push that to the mat. We'll open right up. Now my back knee that I slid back is going to go over his leg. Once it goes over his leg, I'm going to give him a hug. I'm going to put my arm under his head and my other arm under his arm. Now you'll see I'm in this half guard position. I still need to pass over to the side control. So all I'm going to do to make this simple, I'm going to get up onto my toes and I'm going to turn my knees to the inside and make sure that I have a wide base as soon as I get into side control, still holding the head and still holding the arm. Now we're going to be on the bottom guard. Now I need to do the scissor sweep. All I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I have a sleeve. I'm going to put my thumb in his sleeve and my 4 fingers are going to go over top and I can let go. My other hand is going to go on the same side collar that I just grabbed the sleeve with. Here. Now I'm going to drop my feet. I'm going to do a shrimp and get on my side. Now after I did that shrimp, I need to get this knee in between his chest and I'm going to stretch out a little bit. Now all I have to do is drop my foot to the ground, pull him towards me with this grip, scissor my leg and take him over with my leg that's across his chest. Follow him over to mount. Now I'm in a strong position. Lastly, I need to do a submission from the bottom guard. A very simple and easy one would be to do an arm bar. All I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the wrist, I'm going to grab the back of the arm, I'm going to lift my hips, make the arm across my body. I'm going to put my foot in his hip. I'm going to use this foot to push me at an angle. Here, you'll notice that my leg is up. I'm going to make sure to bite this down as hard as I can, but he can't posture up. Now with my outside hand, I'm going to push his head, throw my leg over, bite my other leg. Now his arm is extended. All I need to do is raise my hips to the ceiling, and he'll get that tap. That's one of many examples that you can use on the bottom guard for a submission. Okay, so next we're going to be starting from the side control position. Just want to go over a few key points for side control. I need to make sure that I have a good base. So that's going to be my knees are wide. I want a knee by his hip and the other knee right up like near his shoulder here. My outside arm is going to hug his head and my arm here is going to go under his arm. So here I should be nice and strong here. So if he tries to buck me and throw me, I should be nice and strong. And of course, if he throws me hard this way, I of course have this arm to catch me. Okay? So next we're going to start with our knee slide mount. Okay? All I'm going to do, my hand that has hooked under his arm here, I'm going to start to walk it up the mat. Look how I'm using my fingers. Once I walk it up, I'm going to put my knee right across his belt line here. I'm going to wait. I'm going to continue to walk it up. And if he doesn't do anything, I'm just going to go all the way over to mouth. Make sure to take my arm out from under his head. I can have a wide base, or I can posture up and be strong here. Next is going to be our Americana. All I need to do for this move, I need to take my arm that's out under his head, I'm gonna bring it around his head and put his head in between my elbow and my knee on the other side. So I'm here. I'm gonna wait for my partner for his arm to come around my head. I'm gonna pin it with my head and karate chop it with my hand at the same time. So as he goes around, I'm gonna headbutt and karate chop. All I'm gonna do with my arm that was already under this arm is gonna grab my wrist over top. I'm gonna grab his hand. Now I should have this arm is locked up. I'm gonna suck his arm in, and I'm gonna drag his arm down the mat and tilt his elbow up at the same time. And I'll get that tap. Next, all I have to do is replace the guard. Notice how I don't have any frames, my knees are up, I'm just laying on my back here. All I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start with my arm that's closest to the ground. I'm gonna put that right into his hip here, okay? All I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna get my feet close to myself, and I'm gonna do a bridge into Bryson. Bridge. After I make this bridge, I'm gonna get this arm and put it around his neck and go to my back. I have now established frames so that I can make space against my partner. Once I'm here, all I'm gonna do is another bridge, and now I'm gonna do a shrimp. Look how much space I've created between me and my partner. Now all I need to do is slide my bottom leg all the way in between me and my partner and lock him into my guard. Now I have replaced the guard from side control. Starting next to our mount position, all we're gonna do is get over in the top mount, and I'm here. Basic control, I wanna make sure that my knees are tight and my heels are basically pinching the backs of his legs here. For the rest of that, if he bumps me, pulls me down, I make sure both my hands stay on the mat. And if I need to go to happy seal, which I just thread my legs in, 1, 2, and I lock them, push my hips into him. Now I have a strong base either way. Now he's supporting all of my weight. Next, we're gonna do an Americana from top. All I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure 2-on-1, I'm using my hands like claws. I'm gonna find an arm, I'm gonna pin it right to the mat. Boom. After that, I'm gonna take my hand out. I'm gonna go under his arm, grab my own wrist. Notice how my elbow collapses onto the mat. Now with my back leg, I need to make sure that I hook. Same thing as the side control one. I drag this arm down and raise his elbow up to the ceiling. I'll get that quick. Next is going to be our elbow escape. If our partner is sitting high like this, all I'm going to do is use my knee to bring him down to the mat. I'm going to put my arm across his waist, I'm going to straighten my leg on the same side, and I'm going to push that leg out, bring mine around, and trap. Now I need to get my frames. I have a frame here, and I have a frame on his hip. I need to get to my side. I'm going to do a shrimp, get on my side, and get my leg in between my partner and I, and get my guard back. Next is going to be our basic UPA escape. All my partner's going to do is going to put a hand on my collar. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get a hand, I'm going to claw it again, grab the wrist, outside hand grabs the back of the arm, same side leg traps. I'm going to lift my hips up and roll him towards the side that the arm is trapped, and notice how I go right back to my posture control. And lastly, starting from the back mount, I'm going to make sure that I establish my control. I'm going to make sure that I get my hooks in, 1, 2, they're digging inside and flaring out if they can. I'm gonna get my seatbelt grip. My top arm's gonna go over his shoulder, and my other arm's gonna go under and grab my wrist to secure that, holding him tight. Okay, this is basic control for the back. Next, we're gonna do our rear naked choke. All I'm gonna do, my arm that's over his shoulder is gonna go up to his neck and grab the back of his shoulder. Now my arm that's under his arm is going to come out. I'm going to grab my own muscle or my bicep and put this hand behind his head. And now all I need to do is squeeze, 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 and I'll get that quick tap. And lastly is going to be our back to the floor escape. All I'm going to do, I'm going to isolate these hands and I'm going to fall to a side. After that, I'm going to make sure to get rid of this foot here, and I'm going to start to walk myself out, turning my back to the floor. Walking myself out, out, out,
Once I feel that myself is out, I'm going to use my legs to push back onto my partner, and now I am here in side control. Even a very easy way to step into the move.